Good morning. It's been a couple weeks since I have created a video, and I wanted to share what I've done in the recent weeks with everybody. So, um, I've tinted my windows. I have lowered the car on Swift springs, spec R's, and I threw some wheels on. So I went with some cheap ESR wheels for the time being. Um, I'm not gonna keep them. I don't think for very long. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do, but um, my stock wheel was on the freeway, and my front right wheel I hit a pothole and it actually bent the wheel. So I wanted to get something quickly, and I got these very quickly. But if the wheels I wanted, the work wheels that I wanted, I didn't want to wait 6 months to get. So rather than driving around on a bent wheel for 4 to 6 additional months, I went ahead and just got something for the time being. I actually really like them. Um, they look really good, but they're not what I wanted. But that's okay. We'll get those eventually. So they are 18 by 9.5, plus 35, I believe. And I'm running 255 35 18 tire. No rubbing, no issues whatsoever. And the Swift springs are now completely settled. It's been about, let's see, it's been almost 2 full weeks since I got the springs installed. So um, I did those myself. I know you guys, many people who own Type R's are absolutely dreading that, and for good reason. It fucking sucks, no matter which way you go about it. The rears took me all of 13 minutes. They're super simple. Pop off 2 bolts and donezo, no big deal. The fronts are the pain in the ass. I mean, they are just no joke. Very annoying. And mine's a 20, so I was concerned that the 2020s would have some different things about them compared to the 19 and below because of the changes in the front end. But it's exactly the same. So I will link a thread that I used to basically guide me step by step through the process. That it wasn't really that bad if you follow that and you have power tools like I did. But if you don't have power tools, it's a pain in the butt, and you have to rent um, a spring compressor or buy one. It'd be easier if you do that. You don't have to use them, but it was easier using them. Sorry, my car is completely filthy. It's terrible weather these past 3 days in Ohio, and um, nothing but construction's all on our roads. So, um, yeah. So the main difference in the 2020 is the two-piece rotors. So these are what I was concerned about, um, which is why I didn't go the route of doing the lowering springs by taking. Some people were taking off the rotor, taking off your hub bolt, your main bolt here, and pulling the rotor off. That's just not something I wanted to do. So if you're interested in how I did mine, I shot a couple videos, some instructional videos on what I did and the struggles that I had. I'm not going to post those on YouTube because they're kind of informal, and I just don't feel like posting those on my channel. But if you need them, if you need help, just let me know. I'm more than willing to shoot you over my videos in a message and or email them to you, whatever you need, so you can kind of see what I did and the struggles that I had. But if you follow the link that I'm going to post, it's not terrible. It's easier if you have a lift. I did not, so I was crawling around for the whole weekend underneath my car. Um, but yeah, but I love the way it looks. So it sits nice. I'm used to coilovers, as many of you guys know on my other cars, but springs are sufficient for this car for now. Until somebody releases a good set with active dampening inside, I'm going to stick with springs for now. I like the 18s because they makes the car sit the way it should sit, I think, in my opinion, but that's just me. Um, I don't know. I think the stock wheels look great, but being 20 by 8.5 just wasn't doing it for me. I like my car sitting lower. I like to feel the ruggedness of it. So that's just me. I went with 5% window tint all the way around. And I have a PRL intake now too, and it's fantastic. I love it, and probably my favorite addition so far is the PRL intake, just because of the sounds are fantastic. But eventually, I can't decide what exhaust I want to get. It's probably going to be the HKS Legamax, but I haven't decided that route yet either. And then I have, obviously, I can't do it yet because it's raining and filthy, but I have actually ordered some factory OEM Type R, EP3 Type R decals that go on your doors here, and I'm going to get those on before long. So, just another little touch that not too many people are doing. Um, and this is actually OEM too. I ordered this on Amazon, and it came in OEM packaging from Honda. I was kind of shocked by that. I didn't know that they actually released that. So kind of cool. But I am still thoroughly after um, 2 full months of owning the car. I daily drive it for the time being. I'm gonna give me a beater when the winter comes, but as of right now, I'm daily driving it. I have about 3,000 miles on it, and I am still very much so in love with the car. It is my favorite car I've ever owned, probably the most fun car I've ever driven. And I've driven from Corvettes to all kinds of different stuff. S2000s. This is my favorite car. There's just something about this car that no other car can provide. Maybe I'm just a Honda fanboy. I don't know, but I love this car. It is phenomenal. Um, with the LE coming out here in the next month or so, I think these cars are going to be even more sought after because you're not going to be able to get the LE because there's only 100 of them coming, I believe. So, sticker price at 45,000. I guarantee dealers are going to mark those up to at least 55, probably higher. So, let me know if you guys have any questions. There's all kind of installation videos out there of people doing different things for the lowering springs. Everybody does the rear the same because it's 2 bolts. Drop down the control arm, pop your new spring in. Make sure you use your rubber boots that come in the bottom of the stock spring. Reuse those because you're going to need those, or else you're going to be having some creaking sounds and whatnot. So make sure you use those. But the rears are extremely easy. I had 2 jacks and a bunch of jack stands that I used to get the car up off the ground. You're going to want to have another jack handy if you can, just to help yourself lift up the whole shock tower. That was probably the most tricky part. So what I did is I basically dropped the whole entire swing arm. There's risk of the axle falling out if you're not careful. I mean, you'd have to really try to get the axle to fall out if you go that route. But mine didn't. I mean, I'm pretty much at one point I had my foot on my lug nuts, stomping on the lug nuts to get it out, to push it down so I could get my top hat down and the whole tower down. But I don't really think you'll have any issues with it if you are just careful. Just don't be crazy with it. But I dropped, so there's 3 bolts in the swing arm that you'll see in this link. You remove all of those, and then the swing arm gets enough play in it to allow it to drop just a little bit further to then get the whole entire shock tower out. So that's what I did. It was easier that route. I did my driver's side first, and I messed up because I took out the 2 bolts that hold the tower to the actual wheel hub. I took those out before I took out the swing arm bolts, so it was a lot more difficult to get those out. On the passenger side, I left those 2 bolts in and then took out the swing arm bolts first and then dropped everything in. It was much easier. I probably did this side in 45 minutes, and I think I did the driver's side in probably 5 hours, no lie, because I haven't lowered a car in years. It's been several years since I've had to do my own car, and it took a minute to refresh myself, and then it took a minute to make sure I wasn't fucking anything up. But I'm very, very happy. It settled actually a little lower than I thought it was going to. I can post pictures too of what it looked like before I put my lowering springs on, and then after the fact. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really ride much different than the stock when you're driving in sport mode or R mode. It doesn't really ride much different. It's very comparable. Put it in comfort mode, and you can feel it a little bit differently in comfort mode because it's so bouncy. But in R and sport mode, it's it's very, very close to being the same. There's a lot of talk out there that Spoon is great, and Ibach is great. All those brands are great. It's just preference. But I wanted something that was going to sit the lowest, just because I was running 255s. A lot of people are running 260. There's 265 on their 18 by 9.5s. I wanted to go with 255 just for aesthetic reasons, but that's just me. Um, so yeah, let me know what questions you guys do have, and more than willing to help you out. I don't know what I'm going to do next. Probably exhaust in downpipe, more than likely. I don't know. But yeah, it's pictures and videos don't really do the car justice when you're not looking at it in person. It's way better. It looks way better in person. It sits a little bit cleaner. I mean, it's some people will probably think you're on coilovers because you barely got a finger gap in between tire and fender. No rubbing whatsoever. I've pushed it kind of hard so far, and I haven't had any rubbing issues so far. I did have the rear, or no, right here actually, on a like a downhill slope coming out of like a driveway. Essentially, I rubbed a little bit right there, but I mean, if that's the worst I got to deal with, that's not a big deal. I'm used to banging frame and subframes on coilover, so no big deal there. I love this car. Very, very happy with it. Can't wait to slowly do more things and enjoy it. I'm going to continue to drive it. It's not going to be a garage queen. As you can see, it's going to get driven. That's what it's for. I love the car.